So I told you all I would look into the Cork's National Development Plan and I'd get back to you with the video. And um, I read it all now, and I really recommend anybody to read this document because it's such a detailed document, and it explains absolutely everything in detail of how they're going about this agenda of theirs. Now it's a long document; it's 538 pages. But I have it broken down here for you. But I still really recommend you read it for yourself so you can understand, because it will go into more detail than what I'm going to give you here now um, about it. But I'll give you a brief explanation of it, of what it's about really. So it has objectives and strategies in this document and what they're trying to achieve for 2030. And the objectives for this plan are number one is United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. But you know that's number one because that's who they're trying to please. They're little puppet masters. The National Planet Framework and Framework Targets, the National Development Plan Investment, Cork Metropolitan Area Strategic Plan, Cork City role as a primary national and regional driver, regional collaborational, regional investment, strategic objectives, long-term planning, the 15-minute city, low carbon city, mix of uses, which is just diversity really, design-led city, walkable neighbourhoods, Cork City neighbourhood profile, neighbourhood mix, neighbourhood design, support and strategies and studies, urban area based planning, central city area framework plan, national and regional economic driver, delivery and relevant state land, strategic regeneration, underutilised sites, windfall sites, vacant site levy, derelict site register, population growth, quality of life, implementing the strategy, compact growth, housing supply, long-term planning, supply of zone land, development of hinterland settlements, managing the hinterland, enhanced coordination, funding strategic sites, supporting and enabling finance mechanisms, monitoring and evaluation, monitoring regeneration, sea monitoring, which is the sea environmental reporting statement. That's another document you should read as well, because everything these parasites do is absolutely interconnected. Um, Now, this plan sets out how the city will grow and develop over the next 6 years, which complements a longer 2040 vision, which is Project Ireland 2040. For the first time, the statutory plan also composes the towns of Ballincollig, Blarney, Tower, and Glanmire and their wider hinterland areas. This plan is based on 9 strategic principles. The first one being compact growth. Now, they want to integrate land use and transport planning to achieve a compact city with 50% of all new homes delivered within the existing build-up footprint of the city on regenerated brownfield, infill and greenfield sites identified in the core strategy, and to achieve higher population densities with strategic infrastructures. The second one is a city of neighbourhoods and communities, which is to develop a sustainable, livable city of neighbourhoods and communities based on the 15-minute city concept and consists of 44 district neighbourhoods. Number three is sustainable and active travel to implement CMATS, which is the Cork Metropolitan Area Transport Study, and to develop a transformed, sustainable system with a significant shift towards walking and cycling and public transport right across the city. No cars. Number four is the enhanced build and natural heritage, which is to protect, enhance, support, and develop built natural heritage, open spaces, parks, green and blue infrastructure, and expand built heritage with new buildings, townscapes, and public spaces achieved through the highest standards of architecture and urban design. Number five is strong and diverse economy. Supports support Cork's city's role as an economic driver for the region and the creation of strong, resilient, diverse, and innovative economy. Number six is the resilient city. Contribute to the framework for the transition to a low carbon and climate resilient city, resilient to extreme weather events, pandemics, economic cycles, and other potential shocks. They've all got this plan. Everything's planned, folks. Absolutely everything. Number seven is a healthy, inclusive, diverse city built on Cork's city's status as a World Health Organization designated healthy city, offering an inclusive and vibrant environment, promoting healthy living and well-being. Number 8 is the connected city. Cork will continue to be a highly connected city, providing local, regional, national and international connectivity. A city of learning and culture, to build on Cork's designation as a UNESCO learning city and city's rich cultural heritage, and to foster learning, cultural heritage and the arts throughout the city. The city has 3 development plans under the National Planning Framework that set significant growth targets for Cork by 2040. The CDP of 22 to 28, which is this one I'm doing now, the CBD of 28 to 34, and the CDBP of 2034 to 2040. But this one kind of basically has them all interlinked together. But the other ones will just go into more detail about where they are on what they're doing. Um, the Docklands Regeneration Project is of international importance because it has the potential to be the exemplar for sustainable urban living. The delivery of compact growth includes the consolidation and expansion of 7 strategic areas with and adjoining to the city, which are Blackpool, Kilbarry, Ballyvolan and East and West, South Ballincollig, Malgan, South Glanmire, Ballinglana, Douglas, Castle Treasure and East Blarney. Um, Land use planning in Cork City. The Planning and Development Amendment Act 2010 was introduced the requirement for core strategies as part of development plans. Section 10 2A of the Act requires specific details to be included in core strategies, including how land use zone in accord with national and regional population growth targets and how these targets will be distributed across the city. The core strategy sets out the growth plan for Cork City that includes population targets and locations for future growth up to 2028 and beyond. These targets and growth locations are in line with the overreaching isn't the word I'd be using, ambitions and targets set for Cork City in the National Planning Framework, or the RSCS, which is the Regional, Spatial and Economic Strategies. They're all everything in this document is interlinked with about 10 of the other plans and documents that they're doing in this country. I mean, it's crazy how organised these are. A central function of this core strategy is ensuring an acceptable equilibrium in the supply of zone service land that allows for the projected population growth up to 2028. Now, it's hilarious because they say all these people are coming here under the guise of climate change and all these things that they're not supposed to understand or know when they're going to happen, but yet they can predict exactly the population growth in Cork in this document. The requirement is informed by evidence. Cork City Council and Cork County Council jointly commissioned a housing strategy and housing needs demand analysis, which is the HDNA document. This study provides a forecast for the type of tenure of housing that will be required in the city and county for the period of the plan, thereby informing the quantum of zone service land required to meet the target. In September 2015, world leaders, not the people, adopted the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The agenda is a global roadmap setting out actions for the people, the planet, and prosperity for them, but not us. This plan is designed to ensure Cork City can play its role supporting the delivery of the Sustainable Developmental Goals. Now, this is linked into what Project Ireland 2040 is and where they want the country to be by 2040. So Project Ireland 2040 is the Irish government strategy to make Ireland a better country for all its people, not the Irish, but for everybody. It'll be inclusive. It's designed to deliver on many of the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals, because that's where all of these frameworks, directives and policies are stemming from, folks. It's all coming from the UN. By aligning public infrastructure investment with more sustainable spatial growth patterns. The NDP, which is the National Development Programme or Plan, and the NPF, which is the National Planning Framework, combined to form Project Ireland 2040. Then I've done videos on them before if you want to go back and look at these programmes and documents and frameworks and policies. The NPF is a statutory blueprint that plans for a projected 1 million increase in our national population. 1 million increase in the national population, 550,000 more homes, and an additional 660,000 jobs by 2040. The NPF and the accompanying NPF, NPD and the NPF roadmap provide the statutory framework for the RSCS and all city and county development plans, because every county council has their own plans. while the NDP to 2018 to 27 provides the investment policy to give certainty to future national growth. This development plan, recognising that the overreaching roles, the UN, they even say themselves that they're overreaching, they know they're pushing, but they're still going to go ahead with it. The UN Sustainable Developmental Goals, the NPF, the NPD, NDP play in shaping land use, planning and management in Cork City. The plan's 9 strategic objectives connect directly to 17 of the United Nations the Sustainable Developmental Goals and the 10 national strategic outcomes, which is the NSO in the National Planning Framework. The central themes of the RSCS are placed in making climate action and sustainable economic growth. This strategy contains the Cork Metropolitan Area Strategic Plan, which is the MASP. The MASP reinforces Cork City role as an international centre of scale to complement Dublin, targeting 50 to 60% population growth by 2040. It's envisaged the full delivery of CMATS, which is the Cork Metropolitan Area Transport Strategy, will increase the share of journeys taken using sustainable transport from 33% to 50% by 2040. The NPF targets 60% population growth for Cork City by 2040, which will result in an additional 125,000 people living in the city within 20 years. But yet they're saying all these people are coming here under the guise of wars or climate change and all that. How can they predict exactly how many people are going to be here if they haven't got it all planned and it's not part of replacement migration? I mean, everything is documented and everything is planned, and unfortunately, these parasites are right on track for where they want us to be. Um, Cork City Docklands is 160 hectares of one of the biggest brownfield regeneration sites in Europe, set to create a new livable, walkable, and welcoming urban community, accommodating 20,000 new residents. You notice they're all called residents, and we're the citizens. That's why they get more rights and they're entitled to their homes, and we're not, and they're bumped on the council list. It's all about wording with these legal little parasites. Um, the services they will need within the city existing footprint while having the capacity for 25,000 jobs as well as 40 hectares of open and green space. A 3.5 billion investment in Cork's transport infrastructure set to deliver a new 17-kilometre city cross-city tram system to tie in with the existing mainline train network, also enhanced by the opening of 5 new suburban rail stations across the north of the city, plus 3 more in its hinterland. Over 50% bus services provision will increase by 2026 as the Bus Connect scheme. 30 kilometres of new cycle lanes adding to the 64 kilometre that have been developed in the last few years. 61 million is currently, that's all got to do with the 15-minute cities, folks, as well, because you won't be allowed to drive your cars and it'll be all walking and cycling and going green nonsense. 61 million is currently being invested in public realm upgrades to enhance the attractiveness of the city centre's Grand Parade Quarter for recreation, business and culture activity. 1.9 billion investment by 2026 in housing will see the provision of high quality homes with a minimum energy rating of A2, so that's no fireplaces, your air to water systems, going greenhouses basically. 15-minute cities are being created, and the towns selected for this are Ballyvolan, Mahon, Blackpool, Kilbarry, Northwest Quarter, Regeneration Area, Old White Church Road, Mayfield, Douglas Grange together, and Wilton. Cork City Council will identify priorities and incentives, including relevant financing and funding options to help deliver compact livable growth. Cork City will collaborate key stakeholders and support the achievement of Cork's core strategy objectives. The Council will seek to maximise delivery of the strategy funding initiatives like the URDF. I've done a video on this before if you want to go back and look at it, which is the Urban Regeneration and Development Fund, and the LIHAF, which is the Local Infrastructure Housing Activation Fund, and the SSF, which is the Service Land Fund. They're all being funded by the EU and the UN. It's not by chance that these are all these programs and things. This is an agenda, folks, and people really have got to wake up to what's happening, because it's being implemented right in front of your eyes and people just continue to look the other way. I cannot understand the ignorance in this country from the Irish people. Under the regeneration strategy, this is where we will see the CPO come into play, as government don't own all the land they're required. That's the compulsive purchase orders, and that'll fall into place under the land zoning that I'll go into now in a second. Cork City Council will seek to enable suitable partnership that harness financial expertise that exists across a range of publicly supported institutions such as the LDA, which is the Land Development Agency, who are after zone and land zone in a lot of places, and they're going to come in with a compulsive purchasing order because everything these parasites do is to get their end goal of Agenda 2040, 2030, or Project Ireland 2040. The NTMA, which is the National Treasury Management Agency, NAMA, which is the National Assets Management Agency, HFA, which is the Housing Finance Agency, ISIF, which is Ireland Strategic Investment Fund, the HBFI, which is the Whole Building Finance Ireland. Um, the National Development Plan commits to the delivery of walking and cycle networks for all of Ireland's cities, but Cork is the only one who's legally bound to commit to get this done by 2030 because they're a member of the ICELI. Excuse me, of all of Ireland's cities, with strategies such as the network development of the primary pedestrian network throughout cities, behavioural change initiatives that promote walking, collaboration between stakeholders, upgrade walking provision in tandem with bus connects, light rail station development, and cycle networks implementation for Cork specifically. Strategic routes remain relevant over the lifetime of this plan, and CMATs, particularly in the context of planned population growth. See, planned population growth, but yet these people are coming here under the guise of all these nonsense. It's just frustrating, it really is, because everything is planned and written. So people need to turn off their television and start reading because everything they're doing is planned and written. In the context of planned population growth and residential development in the city, CMATs model the potential for an additional 56,000 daily car trips transferring to cycling. Now that's because in the cities you won't be allowed to have your cars anymore, you'll have to walk and cycle. The model share across the Cork metropolitan area, which is the CMA, differs from that of the city due to the larger geographic area that the CMA covers. A key objective of CMATs is to shift in favour of more sustainable transport modes, which is park and travel. This is one of the examples it gives. The CMAT's expected outcomes and ambition of Cork City Council are ambitious to say the least due to population growth that they hope by 2040 there will be 90 million annual walking trips with a 250% increase in footfall in the city centre. 19.5 million annual cycling trips, 85 million bus passenger trips, 16 million trips on suburban rail and 46 million trips on light rail. They have invested 3.5 billion in investment into the CMATS strategy, which was developed by the NTA, which is the National Transport Authority. Now they go into climate action as well in Cork because Cork is legally bound to get these done by 2030 because they're a member of the ICELI. I've done a video on that before if you want to go look at that as well. The government published a climate action plan in 2019, which lists 183 actions across 12 sections aimed at reducing Ireland's carbon emissions by 30% between 2021 and 2030, and net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Now, folks, this also coincides with the low carbon development plan because everything these germs are doing is absolutely connected, and every county council has prepared a CAP plan, which is a climate action plan, and they plan to update them every 5 years to see how far they're after growing with it. This includes decarbonising zones, and Cork City Council have taken it upon themselves to lead on implementing the decarbonising zone in partnership with key stakeholders. And of course, this is in line with the national and international climate goals because everything these parasites are doing is to please the UN masters, absolutely everything. Now, the objectives of the climate action thing is climate resilient city, international and national climate change legislation, policy and guidance, international climate change research and recognition, coordinated regional action on climate change, climate and environmental action strategies, climate change projects, sustainable energy community, Cork City decarbonising zones, just transition and climate justice, energy conservation and efficiency, energy efficiency considerations, energy use management, waste management, construction and operation of development, adaptable design, lifetime adaptable housing, renewable and low carbon energy, heat pumps, rooftop solar, photovoltaic thermal panels, sustainable generation standalone projects, Cork City District Energy Action Plan, district heating, electric vehicles, rainwater harvesting, green and blue infrastructure. Smart cities, which is the 15-minute cities, the plans for strategic employment area that have retail hierarchy. I'll attach the pictures here beside me. The plan on turning Cork into a digital city so they can compete internationally. It speaks about EU water framework, but that I'll do that's a whole separate video, folks. I need to do that one separately. The plan on the cutting noise pollution now. Cork agglomeration noise action bill 2018 to 2023 was prepared in accordance with the EU Directive 2022/49 EC, which is the European Communities Environmental Noise Regulations 2018, and it meets to aim the it meets to it, it's to meet the aim of the European Noise Directive, which also known as END, of preventing and reducing noise where necessary. Now, they claim the biggest noise to have in Cork is road traffic noise is the predominant source of noise with Cork. And under the regulations, Cork City Council and Cork County Council has designated the action plan authorities for the Cork agglomeration area. It also states Cork County Council may use its statutory powers to implement these plans and objectives. Now, that's your land grab use and your compulsive purchase order, because they're after changing that now. If it's for the betterment of the community, they can come and take your land. Um, it's insane how well organised this plan is, folks, and how documented absolutely everything is. And still, we have people in the country who are saying this isn't happening and it's not real. We need to stop focusing on immigration, because immigration is just purely a distraction to get people full of hate and anger. When really they're coming along with all this legislation changes and changing everything, so the end result will be you will own nothing and you will be happy. I mean, everything is absolutely written here. So people need to turn off their televisions and start reading what the government are printing and showing you what they're about to do. But we should all be looking at Cork, because Cork is the one that's after agreeing to absolutely all of these sustainable developmental goals. Whereas Dublin and all the other county councils have only agreed to certain ones of them. They haven't agreed to them all. But Cork is legally bound to have these done by 2030 because they're a member of the ICELI, um, where whereas other county councils in the country aren't. So, I mean, we just need to keep our eye on Cork, because if the people of Cork let this happen, the rest of the country it's going to follow suit, and we have no one else to blame but ourselves, because we're complying to it all, and we're busy falling for every distraction in this country. Yes, there's people coming into this country, but that is purely a distraction while they change our legislation and take our God-given rights from us. I mean, mass non-compliance is the only way this stops, folks. We can continue on our little parades and flag waving events and listen to the same old rhetoric speeches from all the little egotistical gobshites up there who think they're famous. It's a laugh. Or we can actually get serious and shut this country down. Cork is where we need to be shutting down, because they're the ones after agreeing to absolutely all of this agenda without the without to save the people. I mean, it's insane what we're allowing them to do. But make no mistake about it, we are allowing them to do this because we keep looking the other way, and we can continue to comply with their insane agendas and insane taxes. We could shut this down tomorrow if people just got up and got rid of their fear and stood up and said no and stood united. Stop falling for the distraction that is immigration. Stop focusing on the people that's coming in here, and look at the people who's allowing them to come in here, because they're the real enemy, folks.